an age of revisionist history. There is no doubt. An example of that is the Treaty of Tripoli. Many secularists say that Washington said that we weren't a nation founded on Christianity. However, this is a lie. It was not Washington's work, and no statement can be attributed to him. As I began looking into the history of the Treaty of Tripoli, I was confused by the quote I kept seeing by George Washington. It states this: "The government of the United States is in no sense founded in the Christian religion." It seemed so out of character with the George Washington I had learned so much about. It seemed out of sorts. But then I came upon this and I did further research, and I found, amazingly enough, the revisionists have been at work. Washington never said it. Washington was not even in office. Those who advance the notion that this was the belief system of the founders often publish information attempting to prove that the founders were irreligious. The quote is false. Those who attribute the Treaty of Tripoli quote to George Washington make two major mistakes. The first is that there is no statement in it that can be attributed to Washington. The treaty did not arrive in America until months after he left office. Washington never saw the treaty. It was not his work. No statement can be attributed to him. The second mistake is to divorce a single clause of the treaty from the remainder, which provides its context. It would also be absurd to suggest that President Adams, under whom the treaty was ratified in 1797, would have endorsed or assented any provision which rebuked Christianity. The treaty, one of several with Tripoli, was negotiated during the Barbary conflicts, which was shortly after the Revolutionary War, and continued through the presidents of Washington, Adams, Jefferson, and Madison. The Barbary powers were a warning against what they claimed to be Christian nations such as England, France, Spain, and Denmark in the United States. And in 1801, Tripoli even declared war against the United States. Throughout the long conflict, the four Barbary powers regularly attacked undefended American merchant ships. Not only were their cargoes easy prey for the Barbary powers, but they were also capturing and enslaving Christian seamen in retaliation for what had been done to them by Christians of previous centuries, like the Crusades and Ferdinand and Isabella's expulsion of Muslims from Granada. In an attempt to secure the release of captured seamen and as a guarantee of unmolested shipping of the Mediterranean, President Washington dispatched envoys to negotiate treaties with the Barbary nations. He encouraged the construction of the American naval warships to defend the shipping and to confront the Barbary pirates. The American envoys negotiated numerous treaties of peace with the Muslim Barbary nations to ensure protection of American commercial ships sailing in the Mediterranean. However, the terms of the treaty frequently were unfavorable to America, either requiring her to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in tribute or extortion to each country to receive a guarantee of safety, or to offer other considerations, like warships as gift to Tripoli. The 1979 treaty with Tripoli was one of the main treaties in which each country officially recognized the religion of the other in an attempt to prevent further escalation of a holy war between Christians and Muslims. Consequently, the treaty stated, "As the government of the United States of America is not in any way sense founded on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of enmity or hatred against the laws, religion, or tranquility of the Muslims, it is declared by the parties that no pretext arising from religious opinion shall ever produce an interruption of the harmony existing between the two countries." This article can be read in two manners. It may, as some critics do, be concluded after the clause Christian religion, or may be read in its entirety. Context is important. Recall that while the founders themselves openly described America as a Christian nation, they did include a constitutional protection against a federal establishment of religion. It was a matter left solely to individual states. Therefore, if the article is read as a declaration that the federal government of the United States was not in any sense founded by the Christian religion, it simply distinguished America from those historical strains of European Christianity. It simply assured the Muslims that the United States was not a Christian nation like those of previous centuries, and thus would not undertake a religious war against them. This revisionism and not understanding and articulating the content of the Treaty of Tripoli has led so many students and colleges astray. It's unbelievable. The fact of the matter is that the same way that the Pilgrims, the separatists, came to America to escape the English state-controlled church, the founders were simply saying that we would never be like those versions of Christianity. This latter reading is in fact supported by the attitude prevailing among numerous American leaders. The Christianity practiced in America was described by John Jay as wise and virtuous, by John Adams as civilized, and by Quincy Adams as rational. A clear distinction was drawn between American Christianity and that of Europe in earlier centuries. As Noah Webster explained, the ecclesiastical establishments of Europe, which serve to support tyrannical governments, are not the Christian religion, but abuses and corruptions of it. Daniel Webster also said, Christianity, to which the sword and the burning stake or hot branding iron are unknown, general, tolerant Christianity is the law of the land. Those who attribute the Treaty of Tripoli quote to George Washington make those two mistakes. The first is that it's no statement in it can be attributed to Washington. The treaty never came to America during his time. In fact, it wasn't even in existence until he left office. Washington never saw the treaty. It was not his work. No statement in it can be attributed to him. The second mistake is divorcing the clause from the context. In fact, while discussing the Barbary conflict with Jefferson, Adams declared, "The policy of Christendom has made cowards of all their soldiers before the standard of Mahomet. It would be glorious for us to restore courage to ours." Think about that. Furthermore, it was Adams who declared, "The general principles on which the fathers achieved independence were the general principles of Christianity. I will avow that I then believed and I now believe that those general principles of Christianity as eternal and immutable as the existence and attributes of God, and that those principles of liberty are as unalterable as human nature." Adams' own words confirm that he rejected any notion that America was less than a Christian nation.